It's that time of year again where everyone announces their goals, and I'm no exception. But first, Happy New Year. Hey Dragonlings, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Skye. I'm a fantasy author who typically writes paranormal romance under the name St. Hegyes, and today we're going to talk about my goals for 2026, or rather, my lack of goals for 2026. Let me explain. Hi, Editing Skye here. You're going to see me a lot in this video because there were extra thoughts that I felt like I needed to add while I was editing this video. So, the first is that this video was actually originally supposed to be part of another video. Like, it was supposed to be both my reflections of 2025 as well as my goals for 2026. However, it just got to be too long. Like, it was an hour long. Like, between all of the clips that I have filmed, it would probably be closer to 2 hours of raw footage. Now, I've edited down a lot. I've taken out a lot of my coughing because I am still getting over being sick and stuff. So, like, I'm clearing my throat a lot. I am coughing a lot. So I've taken out a lot of that as much as I can. But the other thing I did is I split it into 2 videos, and I had to refilm some of my clips based on that, or like I had to add additional thoughts. So if this video feels like it's pieced together like a puzzle, or if I mention something that just sounds a little off, that is probably why. I apologize. I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do about that. So yeah, that's fun. But anyways, on to the video. 2026, it's going to be a good year. I'm determined to make it a good year. I am trying to fully embrace a creative life between YouTube videos, artwork in my day-to-day life, and various other things. I am just trying to get more in touch with my creative side. I am trying to get more in touch with my entrepreneurial side. And I'm trying to make this a full-time career. I have goals, like long-term goals, that I need to hit in order for this to become a full-time career. And I was actually talking with a couple people this morning, right before I started filming this, about some of those goals. Not the goals themselves, but like things I can do to get me to that place. And I was like, they were giving me ideas, and I was like, oh, this is adding on to the things I need to do this year. Hold your horses, Skye. They don't have to happen yet. They do not have to happen right this second. So, let's talk about the goals I have for 2026. I'm not doing annual goals, per se. And I say that very loosely. November, we did the craft symposium, and we talked about the book The 12-Week Year. This is by Brian Moran, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and Michael Lennington. I believe those are the 2 authors. During that craft symposium, we decided that we were going to do a 12-week year round table, and we're going to start from January 5th to March 29th is going to be our 12-week cycle. Another additional thought here that I wanted to add is that we did this round table. We have got a group on Instagram. If you are watching this film and want to be part of that 12-week year round table, feel free to reach out to me either on Instagram or Facebook and let me know your Instagram handle so I can go ahead and add you to the round table. The idea is to get together once a week and do check-ins with each other and see how we're doing on our various goals and plan for the next ones and kind of just go over where we're standing with each other. And it's something we're going to be doing from now on, hopefully, at least for the first quarter of the year. So if you'd like to join us with that endeavor, feel free to reach out and let me know, and I will add you to the Instagram group. If you are interested in doing something like that, but you are not on Instagram, feel free to reach out to me, whether via Facebook, email, or Discord. Those are the other 3 places you can find me. I should have all my links in my description for like Linktree and stuff. The only thing it does not have down there is Discord, and that's because it won't let me add a Discord link for my friend profile. I don't know how to do that. There probably is a way, I just don't know how to do it yet, so I've got to figure that out. But yeah, feel free to reach out to me on Discord. I think I'm still under SD Hegyes. I have to double check that. But yeah, reach out, let me know if you want to join the 12-week year roundtable, and I will go ahead and add you to that group, and I can create another group either on Discord or Facebook for those who do not want to be part of the Instagram version. because like I understand that we cannot always meet up at the same time because of time zones or just responsibilities and stuff like that. So if we can create other groups, like I would like to make this a thing on AuthorTube where we get different groups of people get together and work through their goals once a week, once a month, once a quarter kind of thing. So yeah, reach out and let me know if you're interested in joining us with that. Back to the video. I have set myself 3 goals following the 12-week year where I will plan those down to the minuscule task. I have one of them already planned on the board behind me. Let's go ahead and get into those. The first of my 12-week year goals is that I want to write, edit, and polish stories for 2026 and 2027 release preparation. I have lots of big plans for various stories. Originally, I was thinking in my head that I wasn't going to publish anything in 2026, but I have since changed my mind. There's absolutely no reason why I can't publish anything in 2026 if I really put my mind to it. And I don't know if it's just because it's the beginning of the year, if it's all the days leading up to my birthday. I don't know what it is, but January through March are actually the best times for me to write. And I've been tracking my word count for years, and my highest numbers are always January to March. March is right after my birthday, right around the same time as my birthday, is right when I have a big, very massive depression era. But up until that point, I am gung-ho. Like, that is when I get my biggest word counts. It's when I get the most stuff done. It's when I get the most stuff accomplished. And I want to take advantage of that. So I am going to be using that first 3 months, that first 12-week year, to write, edit, and polish as many stories as I can for 2026 and 2027 release. I actually have that posted behind me. I was talking earlier about breaking everything to like minute task, and what it did is that I picked a release date for various different projects. I have 10 projects planned on the board behind me. They're across the whole year. I'm only focusing on the first 3 months though, and I think there's only 3 projects I'm working on the first 3 months. 4 projects, maybe. So those are my focus for the beginning 3 months of the year. And then after that, I will reevaluate everything else I've got on the board. But I worked backwards. I chose a date that I knew I wanted to publish the stories by. And I have this down. I have this with formatting, metadata, front and back matter. Metadata includes like keywords, categories, stuff like that. I have it broken down to how often I need to write. And the way I have it broken down is I know that I can successfully, with just the 2 writing sprints I tend to do in the evening with JC, I know for a fact that I can write 5,000 words a week, minimum. And usually I can write more. However, again, it goes back to that buffer time thing. I want to make sure I give myself plenty of time. So I plan 5,000 words a week. And I know these stories are about 10,000 words long. So I gave myself 2 weeks. And then I was like, okay, I need an extra buffer week. And how I did that was like, for every 10,000 words in whatever story I'm working on, I need to give myself a extra week. So that if I have to hit the ground hard, I can. Editing Skye here. Sorry for how this may sound, how it may look. Apologies. I am editing this video and I realized that this may not have been clear. So what I mean is that I calculate how long it's going to take me to write each project based on my predicted word count. So if I think a story is going to be 90,000 words, I divide 90,000 by 5,000 because I can write 5,000 words a week. I know I can write 5,000 words a week, minimum. Sometimes I can write more, sometimes I write a little less, but roughly 5,000 words per week. So 90,000 divided by 5,000 is 18. So I know it's going to take me 18 weeks to complete a 90,000 word story. Then I add in buffer time. And for buffer time, I add in 1 week for every 10,000 words. So for a 90,000 word story, that is 9 weeks. So 18 plus 9 is 27. That is how much time I give myself to write each project this year. And that's why I have so many at the beginning of the year. Why I have so many projects is because they're all 10,000 word short stories. So they all should roughly take me 3 weeks maximum. So that's what I meant by calculating word count. That's what I mean by figuring out how long it's going to take me to work on projects. And with this particular series, it's one I've been working on for a while. I know the logistics of all the stories. I've got some of them plotted out, at least in my head. Some of them I've even gotten plotted out in paper, or they've already been written. I'll go into more detail in a further video about this. But what it all comes down to is I have so many predicted because of the way I've calculated. I've calculated 5,000 words per week because it's a 10,000 word story. That's 2 weeks right there. 1 week per every 10,000 words. Since the stories are 10,000 words each, that is 1 week. So that's 3 weeks total. That is where that math comes in. So apologies if that wasn't clear. Hopefully that clears it up. On to the video. So for a 10,000 word story, that means I'm giving myself 3 weeks to write it. During that 3rd week, I'm also planning on editing because it shouldn't take me too long to finish off whatever I did not finish during those first 2 weeks. So on the board behind me, starting in January, at the very top, I don't know why I can't point to it correctly. I don't know why that was so difficult. Each project is a different color, and I've got my writing and editing days filled out. I've got every task filled out, no matter how big or small, that I need to accomplish, including sending it to beta readers and editing based on beta feedback and stuff like that. Like, I've got everything mapped out for all of Q1 from January 5th to March 29th. Definitely. I've got some other stuff planned out too, but we're going to ignore that as if it doesn't exist. We're just going to focus on the first 12 weeks. So that is the first goal. The second goal is that I want to strengthen my relationship with Justin, who is my husband, and my girls. Hi, me again. I have, since making this video, I have kind of really thought about this goal a little bit more. And not only do I want to strengthen my relationship with my intermediate family, I also want to strengthen my relationship with my external family as well as friends. So the way that I'm going to be doing this is everything's going to stay the same. It's basically, I want to make time for everyone in my life, whether that be my immediate family, my extended family, like my parents, my sisters, my brothers, and my brother-in-law, my mother-in-law, or also like friends, like everyone in my life. I want to strengthen my relationship with everyone in my life who I love and enjoy spending time with. So that's what I mean by that. So the goal is slightly changed from what I mentioned in the video, but the gist of it is still the same, just extra people. And the way I'm tracking that is I have my 5-year planner in here. I have some of this stuff related in here in my 5-year planner. And I'm not really planning anything. There are some days where we're planning different events. Like, I would love to take the girls to go to an arcade, and we need to plan that around paydays, around other events that are going on, stuff like that. Like, we need to make sure we're financially able to do that, as well as like physically, and like we've got no one's sick and stuff like that. So some stuff does have to be planned. But mostly what I want to do is, if I do something with either the girls or both of them together, or my husband, I want to make sure I track it. Last year, 2025, I did track some stuff we did with the family, but that was because I was tracking the things I was doing. So like, I was tracking everything dealing with gaming. And so if I ever gamed with anyone in the family, that got tracked. However, I didn't track any of the other events. And I figure with this, what I want to do is anytime I do something with the family, I will flip to, let's just say that we're doing something in May. And we do something May 1st, Friday. I will write down who I was with and what we did. So I don't necessarily want to break this down. That's why I think this is actually a bad goal for me to include on here. It's more that I want to track what we do, because I would like to be able to think back and say, I know we did something together as a family other than gaming, but I cannot remember for the life of me what it was. I know we did a lot of things this year. I can't remember half of what we did. So that is where that comes in. The third and final goal that I have set for myself is that I want to build sustainable habits towards a life that I am proud of living. And this may seem very weird at first, but the truth of the matter is that there are some things that I do that are ingrained in me. Like, there are things I do daily. There are other things that I want to make part of my lifestyle that I don't do, that I need to start doing. And actually, Jess, thank you very much, Jess. She sent me a video on creating a habit tracker. And so I'm going to be, it's a spreadsheet. I love my spreadsheets, if you didn't know. I'm going to be building that tracker in a spreadsheet. And basically the way it works is that as you check off different tasks, different habits and stuff like that, you grow a little flower. And I was like, ooh, I could see so many things happening because like I could hatch a dragon. And this allows me to do a couple different things. I can practice my art skills. I can draw me an egg. I can draw the egg hatching. I can draw the dragon popping out. I can do all kinds of things. And then like I can do the flower. The creator of the specific video, I'll leave it linked in the description, but I'm also going to build it and give it to whoever wants it to. So, but yeah, like, the creator of this particular spreadsheet was like, I'll have a link to a file folder with the pictures for the flower. And I was like, that's cool. I can start with that just to set it up. And then I can create my own pictures to substitute in at a later date. Not the point. The point is that I will have a tracker that I can use to start tracking my habits. And because it's a spreadsheet and because I'm on my computer a lot, and because I like spreadsheets and I update spreadsheets on a daily basis, I will probably use it. The other thing I want to mention is that the tasks that I do outside of these are going to be tracked in here. This is my 2026 planner. I'm still working on setting it up for the most part. For the most part, it's set up, but I'm still doing a couple other things with it. And what I started doing, this is my 2025 one. What I started doing was, I track events that are going on, like my work schedule, the kids' work schedule. This is from the 24th. I think this is 24th. Yeah, it's Christmas Eve. But I write all my tasks in here that I need to do on a daily basis. And the way this works is that some tasks get added prior to. Like, I've actually got all birthdays and anniversaries already scheduled in here. If there's any doctor's appointments I already know about, they're in here. If there's any dentist appointments, they're already in here. Like, there's some stuff that's already in here before the year even starts. But what I like to do also is at the end of the day, after I've done my journaling, I like to go ahead and be like, okay, these are some tasks I would like to get done today. These are some tasks I can get done today based on whatever's going on, based on like what's going on with everyone else as well. Not just like my work schedule and like my sleep schedule, but also like what are the kids doing event-wise? Like, do we need to go into town and pick them up from hanging out with friends? That kind of stuff. So one of the things that I have done is that I like to create my list in here. And then as I complete said list, let's see if I've got an example of that. This is only something I've started doing recently. As I finish stuff, I highlight it, I mark it off. I was originally just doing check marks, but it got to the point where like I couldn't see the check marks, so I stopped doing that and started doing highlighting instead. It works so much better. You do what works for you. And then at the end of the day, I journal how I was feeling, what happened, stuff like that. So a lot of like the tasks that I was talking about of like building sustainable habits, that will help. That's become a new habit that I've started doing that has worked out really well. And I'll go over those journals in more detail in a later video. It will also help me track like what I'm doing with the family and kids, but I do like tracking on the calendar as well, just because that's a more like monthly visual of what I did when kind of thing. There are other goals that I want to start tracking as well. And these aren't goals that I'm going to track in the same way I'm tracking the 12-week year. They're just things that I need to work on that don't have a time limit. They are, I guess you could technically call them annual goals, but they're more the things that when I finish them kind of things. The first of which is the personal curriculum. I have a video coming soon, so I'm not going to go into detail about that. And I will leave a link in the description when that video goes live. It should be at the end of January. Basically, what it comes down to is that I like learning. I like continuing to learn. And I am making it a priority in my life. And I will be tracking that in a different way. But that one doesn't have a time limit. I will finish that when I finish that. I'm working on different subjects. And different subjects are being studied in different ways. And it will all make sense when the video comes out, I promise. But what it comes down to is like I might finish one subject before another, and I might have to change that subject, or I might just have to drop it completely for various reasons. Again, that video will come out soon. And another thing I would like to do is I would like to reattempt the magical girl transformation. I need to still sit and think about how exactly I'm going to do that. And the reason I say that is because I think part of the reason that didn't work for me this time is because I was tackling it was too much. It was too much. So I need to sit down and think about again, I need to go back to the breaking it down, like setting that bigger goal and breaking it down into smaller tasks. I need to think about how I'm going to accomplish all of the tasks that I want to accomplish. And some of those tasks that I did for the Magical Girl transformation were, some of them were one and done kind of things. So I need to make sure that kind of stuff gets actually scheduled and planned out. Like, this is when I'm going to complete this by kind of thing. Like, one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to have my hair cut and colored. Like, this is how much my hair has grown out since the last time I bleached it and dyed it back last December. So this is how much hair growth I've had. I am growing out a lot of my undercut, which is why you see some of the shorter pieces, because that was originally part of my undercut and now I'm growing it out. I still have an undercut. It's just a lot shorter, I guess. That may know. So I don't have as big of a, like, my undercut used to be way up here and now I'm like, it's down here. Like, I had it at the ear level. Not the point. The point is that one of my goals was to, like, re-bleach this and then recolor it a different color. And that didn't end up happening for various reasons. So, like, that's something that if I'm going to set it, I need to make sure I set it by a specific date. I want to make sure my hair is bleached by XYZ date. I need to have it colored by XYZ date. And then make an action plan from there on how I'm going to accomplish that. And I need to do that with all my tasks. Or I need to put them, like, if it was something I'm supposed to be doing on a daily basis anyways, it needs to be on, like, a daily habit tracker, which is where that spreadsheet that I mentioned earlier will come in handy. Another thing I'm tackling is that I want to continue doing the craft symposium. I want to do one a month. However, I am taking a hiatus in December. That is going to be officially a hiatus month from now until the end of time, until I change my mind. And so there won't be a craft symposium that month. However, there will be a craft, and then there's going to be another break, another hiatus in either July or August, or possibly both, because that is when I'm moving and I don't want that added stress. Craft Symposium will happen 9 or 10 times out of the year, the first one being at the end of January. It's always the last Sunday of the month, so keep an eye out for that. In January, we're going to be talking about the 12-week year for writers. So that is the book we're going to be discussing, and then I will have a poll out mid-January for February's book so that I can announce it during the live stream, at the end of the live stream. So yeah, like, that's something I want to continue doing. I mentioned that I was moving in July, August. We don't have an exact date yet. We just know it's going to be during the summer, sometime between July and August. And I want to make sure that it's a very successful move. Okay, I'm back home. I've taken my shower. I've gotten off work. And I discovered 2 more things that I forgot to talk about as far as, like, my sub-goals. That's what I'm calling them. So the first of the 2 that I forgot was the fact that I am going to try to get better about budgeting, financial budgeting. Oh, there's Loudling drinks water. So one of the things I'm doing with budgeting, I am in control of budgeting in my household. But we are trying to teach the kids good budgeting habits so that they don't run into the same problems me and my husband have had over the years. And so there's that. And then the other thing is that I'm trying to teach what I do to my husband so that if something happens and I can't do our budget for whatever reason, he can do it instead. But the other thing I'm trying to do is I am trying to, because of our move and because we don't know what jobs are going to be like when we move, we're moving for multiple different reasons. I'm not going into that in this video, but there is a possibility when we move we won't have to both get full-time jobs. So our job security is up in the air with what we're going to do when we move. Don't quite know what that's going to be yet. It's one of those things where we're both going to apply to jobs before we even move down there, like a month or 2 before we move down there, but there's a high possibility we won't even hear anything back about interviews until we get there. So I've got to start budgeting really hard and making sure that we can survive once we get down there. I kind of touched on this when I talked about moving, but so, like, I'm budgeting for the move itself, and then I'm budgeting for life after the move, basically. Do I have enough in our budget savings wise to like live for more than a month after we move. Absolutely not. We will have to find jobs. It's just a matter of like how comfortable can we live without a job for before we're like, ooh, we really need jobs like yesterday kind of thing. So I'm trying to budget hard between now and then to get us in a good place where we'll be okay once we move. So that's what I mean by budgeting. So that's the first of the two sub goals that I forgot to talk about. And then the last sub goal that I forgot to talk about is the fact that I want to be more consistent on YouTube. I did pretty okay last year in 2025. However, there were some hit or miss things, and I had all these grand plans. I was going to do what I managed to do this month. I was going to pre-film a bunch of videos. I was going to edit them and upload them and have them good to go before the month even started. I didn't quite make it that far this year. Like, I am still editing videos. I got them all filmed, but I'm still editing videos, and tomorrow's the 1st. So it's one of those things that's like a work in progress. But we're getting there. We're getting there. Next year will probably be even better because we're planning it out better. But all of that to say that I want to get better about making sure that if I say I'm going to post something, I have something posted. I did okay last year. I want to do great this year. And on those months, I plan on having a hiatus, both December and July, August, possibly both July and August. I want to make sure I have videos still going up, even though I won't actually be available. I want to make sure that there is still content going out for you guys to watch, or in the case of like YouTube posts, read while I am gone. So I need to make sure I stay on top of that and I stay consistent with it. And I pretty much basically, I've got all of January through March planned. I've got most of the videos that I can film already filmed. There's only like a couple more I have to film as far as like those that I need to film still that I can already film. The others are like January recap and February goals. Those kind of videos where I can't do them until they're closer to that time. And then I need to go ahead and start planning for the next quarter as far as videos go, so I can start, getting ahead on those videos. Already off the bat, because I've split this video into 2 videos, a video I had already filmed for the bonus video at the end of this month will actually be a bonus video in July. So that one's covered already. So that's cool. But yeah, suffice it to say that I want to make sure I stay pretty consistent on YouTube and I just continue the momentum that I started building in 2025 and keep it going in 2026 so that I am good to go whenever December rolls around and my hiatus comes around, so that I'm not doing what I'm doing now and like struggling and making sure I'm trying to get everything posted before the start of the new year. My bad. To be fair, I had expected this to be only one video, and had it stayed one video, I would be done, it would be uploaded, and I would have been on schedule. But because I decided to split it, I had to finagle some stuff, so. C'est la vie. Anyways, maybe this will be the last time you hear from me throughout the rest of this video. We'll see. Again, lots of plans, lots of things that are happening in 2026. I told you, it's going to be a good year. I am determined to make it a good year. 2025 was a terrible year. It was a terrible year. Sucked so bad. But there were so many good things that came out of it too, that I can't really be mad at it. And I'm using it as a learning experience and using it as like, okay, this is what I need to do differently in 2026. So yeah, let's go make 2026 a better year. So there you have it. That is a look at my plans for 2026, what I have in mind that I'm going to be doing, how I'm actually going to be going about doing it. If you'd like further videos about how this goes and what I'm planning on doing, feel free to subscribe to my channel, because I do plan on doing more videos, especially vlogs, chronicling my journey throughout the year as I try to accomplish these tasks. Anyways, that is all I have for you guys today. Just a overview of what I plan to do in January 2026 and my plans moving forward for the year. If you've made it this far in the video, feel free to leave me some kind of fireworks or sparklers emoji to celebrate the new year, and let me know what your plans are for 2026. I'd love to hear all about them. What is the biggest goal that if you could accomplish that and only that, what would it be? Let me know in the comments. Anyways, I will see you all in my next video. Bye, Dragonlings.